Look, y'all, I said therapy must be working because Danny didn't do anything to Tiffany when she bumped into her. I said, Danny, now is not the time. But hey, y'all, welcome back to another review of Life with Chessie for Tyler Perry Sistas, Season 7, Episode 18. Okay, y'all, so let's talk about it. Before we talk about it, let me point out, okay, first things first. I'm so glad that Danny and Karen had this conversation, and I'm so glad that they made up. But I hope it stays that way. The second thing is, I can't believe Danny did not do anything. I said therapy is helping her. Therapy is definitely helping her. Next season, I hope that they do the storyline where she comes into money. Not just that, but when she was talking to Karen, she said something. I didn't write it down. She was saying how in college they did the same thing. She said they act like they doing her a favor. I said, okay, everybody else's turn. You done told Karen about herself. Now you need to tell Andy and Sabrina the same thing. Well, I feel like Sabrina and her was the closest though. The other thing is, it was at the end of the episode. Wait, first of all, they still didn't show Karen talking to Pam about that photo. But the other thing is the end of the episode where they show the preview for next week's episode. Fatima gonna be at the baby shower, y'all. But okay, let's talk about this episode. So it started out with Andy. Andy crying. She got the door open. I said, Andy. I said, pull yourself together. Then I was waiting on her to tell Fatima, but she hasn't had a chance to tell Fatima yet. But yeah, Andy was crying, and she was thinking about everything that Gary said. And then Penelope ends up calling her. Penelope called her and was like, Agent Y gave her permission to call. And I was thinking about something. I was like, do y'all think that it cut off? But do y'all think that Gary also has her office bug? When Andy went to Jordan's at the end of the episode, I was like, okay, is she gonna write on a piece of paper that, Gary having her do all this? Is she gonna tell somebody to do something now? Now it's not the time to be quiet. But so far, she's doing everything that he wants, and he gonna show up at Karen's baby shower, and Zach gonna say, what are you doing here or whatever. Look, everybody there. It look like Rich there. Another thing that happened was the Maurice situation. They didn't show Grayson or whatever. But did his co-worker say that 2 people have quit because of Maurice? So the other lady quit too? I said, that's going to be a problem. I said, that's definitely going to be a problem. Why is everybody quitting because of Maurice? Sabrina going to have to think about that. Then there was the conversation between Miss Lisa and Karen. I wanted to ask y'all if y'all thought that it was, how do y'all feel about her saying that Karen is entitled to a cut because, Pam used her salon and everything and her business credit card? I said, yeah. I said, true that. Do y'all think that's what it's going to be about? Because they say on episode either 21 or 22 that Karen and Pam make peace. I thought it was going to be because of the photo. So do y'all think it's because Karen going to say that she owes her a cut? But yeah, Miss Lisa's supposed to be taking Karen to her doctor's appointment. So Zach didn't take her to the doctor's appointment. But yeah, back to it. The money wanted to interview Sabrina, find out more about her and her story. And another thing about that, I didn't write that down. Look, I don't be writing down enough. But at the end of the episode, they showed a preview, and he was talking to her, and he was like, did you ever find a sperm donor or whatever? I said, is he gonna offer? Look, we was just talking about that. But he ends up inviting her to dinner. Look, you could tell then he was gonna have an interest in her. And this is the part that I was screaming at the doggone phone about. Tiffany shows up. And I said, you know what? Who's to say she didn't have Brianna going through Danny things to drive a wedge between Danny and Tony? Because she just said she was going to use the kids, basically, to drive a wedge between them. I said, you know what? She probably told that girl to do that stuff. And this is where I was like, Danny must, therapy must really be helping her, because, look. But she did tell her she got one more, though. She only get one when she bumped into her. I said, get her, you get everybody else. I said, you talk to us about everybody else. I said, ain't no way you gonna let her get away with this. But yeah, y'all know Danny changing. Danny doing better now. But she done came up in here talking sideways. I thought for sure when she started stepping close to her, I was like, she finna say that Tony spent the night with her or whatever. I said, she finna say it, but she didn't say it. And she still talk about the doggone, that's her husband. My husband and all this stuff. You're not going to come. She kept saying a whole bunch of stuff. Look, I need to go back and watch that scene because she made me mad. I said, who she talking to? She said, look, Danny already knew it. We all knew it at this point. We all knew that she wanted him back. What I want to know, or what I want to see, is how Tony feels. And another thing I thought that was going to happen is when Danny was saying how she let him go and all this, I thought she was going to say, actually, that ain't what happened at all. Or either she was going to say, he been trying to get me back, or he was trying to get me back for a long time. Something. Y'all know how it go. But she was talking crazy to her, saying she had her vape pen. She just letting her, she ain't paying no attention or whatever. And she was saying how, look, from what she said, she's going to use the kids to her advantage. And when she was on her way out the door, she bumped into Danny. I said, this ain't what you want. I said, this ain't what you want. But when Karen and Danny was talking, she was mentioning how she in the army and everything. I forgot about that, to be honest. And Danny was like, I don't care nothing about that. But when she bumped her, I said, drag her. I said, drag her. But then I thought about it. I said, she in the army. So they be teaching them no techniques and stuff. I said, don't do it, Daddy. I said, don't do it. Abort, bitch. But yeah, I was like, Danny going soft. Therapy is helping her. But I'm so glad that she called Tiffany out on her bull crap. But what tripped me out, let me go and finish. What tripped me out was when they cut to the scene with Danny, and the way she was talking, you would think that she wasn't talking to Tony. I had to double check. I was like, you know you talking to the child's father, right? She was like, oh, man, 8 kids and all this other stuff. I said, girl. But she was telling him about, everything Tiffany said, and he downplaying it. I don't like when people do that. I do not like that. You downplaying everything she said or whatever. No, talk to her. Set her straight. Let her know this ain't it. This ain't that. I don't know what y'all had going on before you and Danny got together, but you need to straighten her out. But Andy ends up telling Fatima that Gary's trying to ruin her life. She didn't get a chance to tell everything because I think that was the scene where Zach called. No, I think they had went to commercial then. I don't know. Then Tamara. I said, Tamara, you better watch yourself. I don't think you know who you're dealing with. I keep hoping that Hayden pops up, and they confusing me. I thought these folks were still married. I could have sworn they were still married. I don't know if they clarified or not. But remember how I think Hayden was talking to Miss Marie, and he was like, he was married for a second or whatever. Then on this episode, Gary called Hayden Tamara's boyfriend. I said, wait a minute now. But Tamara don't went, and she was saying basically she want money. She wants money, says the FBI would be interested to see him roughing up a female. And I said, that's what she edited the video to look like? Or does she have other proof or something? I thought she was talking about the Penelope situation. I was like, how'd she get that? And I was like, oh, that must have been what he meant about she edited that video. This is another good part of the episode, y'all. Karen ended up inviting Zach and Fatima to see the ultrasound to her doctor's appointment. I said, okay. I said, I like this. But I don't know, y'all. I don't know. Things going too good. Things going way too good, y'all know. But I was like, what? She invited Fatima? I said, what? I know. I skipped the part about Tony now. After Danny was confiding in him about what Tiffany said and everything, he says it further proves that Danny has to be more careful around his kids or whatever. So Danny got offended. She says, or, y'all should be blaming Brianna, y'all kid, or yourselves about how y'all raised her. And I said, valid points were made on all sides, because regardless of the fact. Now, they didn't clarify I think Danny did say she was going through her things. So she found it by going through her things. So she need to be taught not to do that. And again, I think Tiffany had something to do with it. But if you're going to be with somebody with kids, you definitely going to have to start, being more mindful and watchful and everything. And they also got to talk to her about that. I said, no, Tony needs to talk to her about that because, first of all, I'm starting to think Tiffany the one put Brianna up to that. Now, we only seen her over there once, ain't it? Ain't she only been there once? She had the handcuffs. How Danny missed? First of all, how many vape pens does Danny have? Because Danny always used to be hitting that thing. Why is it like that? She always had it on her. How she didn't know? Maybe she had more than one. Because how she didn't know it was missing? Like, I'm like, where did she get that from? They only been there once, right? I don't know. But I will say, I like how Danny be catching on to the shade that be thrown her way, as well as how she defends herself. And I say, you know what? They gonna have to get on one accord. And Tony gonna have to put Tiffany in her place as well as Brianna. Or they'll never work out. But I think this whole little Tiffany situation is going to get worse before it get better. I think she going to end up saying something that made Danny see, oh, it's not over between them. Or, oh, he's lying. He been lying about something. Or, oh, something going to happen. Zach invites Fatima to Karen's doctor's appointment, or tells that Karen said she could come. But she said they got too much work going on there. She can't come. I said, oh. But looks like she going to be at the baby shower, though. And here's the part that I love. Danny goes to see Karen. And I'm so glad they had that conversation. She says she's tired of their friendship. And I feel like if Karen had do y'all think the whole Aaron situation helped Karen see that she be tripping? Or what? Because I feel like about a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, however long it's been, I feel like this conversation could have ended badly. I feel like their friendship would have been over. But Karen sat, she listened, and then she spoke her piece. And I'm so glad that, look, I skipped though. Let me see. I said, Danny goes to see Karen, says she is tired of their friendship, and Karen says she feels betrayed. Danny admits how Karen treated her hurt, but she played it cool. She said they've been treating her basically like she less than for a long time. For a long time, I said, yeah, right on. Let it be known. I said, I feel like they all should have been there for that. But at the same time, I'm so glad that they had that private conversation. But yeah, I feel like that whole conversation could have went left if Karen had been like, oh, I ain't did nothing wrong or whatever, but she listened and she heard her. They said that she found solace or peace or whatever they said in the synopsis with Zach and with Danny. I said, about time. But I feel like this doggone cliffhanger for the season finale, it's going to be something, y'all. Then Danny admit that after her situation, now she in that situation or a situation like that, she said she'd be upset if they all hung out with Tiffany, so she understands now. I said, right, because people be acting like, they like, oh, you can't tell people who they hang out with. Yeah, true that. But at the same time, you'll feel some type of way. I said, right. A lot of people been saying that for the longest. And Danny finally admitted it. But they ended up hugging or whatever and saying they love each other. I said, oh, I said, about time. I said, this conversation was long overdue. Then they had Zach calling Nate. I said, not Nate now. Not Nate. If you don't know Nate, that's one of his best friends or whatever you want to call him. But he ain't no good, or he wasn't no good until he redeemed himself. Well, I'm not even sure he fully redeemed himself. But he was calling Nate to watch Michael or whatever, and he couldn't. And Deja came or whatever. I said, not Zach. I said, Zach. I said, now Fatima did say, and I just said that. I'm glad she admitted that. I said she did say to find someone. She wasn't specific. But at the same time, certain things you should know. She said, what the thought? Can we say that on here? Too late now. Too late now. She said, what that? You know what? Insert word here. What she doing in my house? She put him in the headlock. I said, nah, now, Fatima. I think I skipped some things. I didn't write down some things. I know what I skipped. Zach made it to the doctor's appointment or whatever. They didn't show it. They skipped over it or whatever. They had the ultrasound. Aaron was there. Miss Lisa was there. Zach came late or whatever. Aaron told him he's glad that he was there. But Fatima ends up getting home to see Deja, asked what she doing in the house, and she told, I said, see, Zach, there you go again. I said, you're going to have to start telling her stuff. Because what if she hadn't have made it, or what if she would have sent pictures or whatever and been like, oh, I was in your house or whatever, and flipped the script and made it seem like it was more than what it was. Then she ends up telling him he could have just called Angela. And he was like, I didn't even think about that. Then they cut to Damani and Sabrina. He interviewing her or whatever. And then Rich shows up. I said, I know this ain't finna be the episode. You know how they ended on the cliffhanger? I don't know if you call everything like that a cliffhanger. But yeah. I said, I know this ain't it. But he shows up or whatever, and he's basically suspicious. He's like, what's going on? He's like, I tried to text you or call or something. He said, I said, not you being pressed, Rich. I said, calm down, Rich. But the guy ends up introducing himself, and Sabrina tells him what's going on. But then the man, he was like, okay. She was saying how she wanted to freeze her eggs, or she was going through the fertility process or whatever. And he's like, he assumed because she said she was seeing somebody that he was going through it too or whatever. And then Sabrina tells that Rich doesn't want kids. And on next week's episode, he's asking her if she found a sperm donor. I said, don't fall for it. I said, don't take the bait. But Andy ends up telling Jordan. She comes there. She tells him basically they have to end things. It's been a long time coming or whatever. Everything that has happened is her fault or whatever. And I said, really? I said, let somebody help you. Tell somebody something. But that's it, y'all. That's all that happened. Let me know what y'all thought of this episode down below. Stay tuned for the next video. Until next time, deuces. Have a great rest of the night and be safe. If you didn't know, I own a small business, They Just Learn Account, which specializes in educational products and mental health products like encouraging messages, groups, classes, stuff like that. Everything on the site except the group is currently on sale for just $1. So support today. The link is always in the description down below. It's a digital download, which means once you purchase it, it's going to take you to a confirmation page. On the confirmation page, you click the link and it's going to start the download immediately, y'all. Once again, thank you for the support. Deuces.